are local banks, Ghanaian banks, who had people who had suffered and gone through the mill to the point where they had established banks of international world-class quality. Some. Kofi Amwabeng, UT. No matter what you think of Kofi Amwabeng, no matter what you say about Kofi Amwabeng, he did something that currently in Ghana, he set the benchmark that most banks are now going and killing themselves to follow. And Mwabeng Oba first says, we'll give you a loan in 48 hours. He says, what other banks are saying no, we say, why not? If you want a loan, we'll give you 48 hours. And folks, it was like the slogan, that time it was the Unique Trust Financial Services, before he branded to become the UT. And he started this. And like joke, today as we speak, the banks that are notable, and for a bank to be considered said they are in business, no, what do? They have to promise you that they can process your loan very quickly. No bianye be there. Kofi Amwabeng did that. So I'm saying, whatever mistakes, or any part, institutions have mistakes, whatever infractions, whatever mistakes that UT Bank made, folks, what is the expression? You don't throw the baby away with the bathwater or something. In Kria say if you have a wound, now one snap is so you don't cut your leg and throw it away. You just slowly drive away the one snap. And that's how we put it. Folks, you don't collapse a bank because of whatever reason. The choice for any responsible government, the first choice is, okay, if this bank is in distress, what are the reasons? Is it the corporate structure? Is it the financial? Whatever. How do we fix it so we keep the bank in business?
Etore bi ayana Ghana for ayana midi ya okese pa ohwe mosima nyankopon hira ye na nso nipa bi obesore wo yemu bia no na o se yakutia no eno na aya medwen ho a menti ase na mbisa mo se etiyen de chese memma nyankopon nhira ye ana se de efise yen ye ba ya transfer ase bi so ade biara etwe yen ho hye bia buni se da bi nhira ye bia Ghana for day ni abeji bibia wo yensemu de bia obusa ho se Ghana ni kura ojune ho a onte na se biso ye wiase ye bai e de ne yakopon finisa ye wo gold ye wo diamond ye wo silver ye wo manganese etitirefo mo sori wo Ghana need nano ya sebi ono de ofan kasempa de bia ordinary fin obeka semfo obi ti se okunaba se ye ka ye matemufo ya omosori ti a eye yewura osagefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah okunaba oye first person nasefo ne papa no mo na omo hyase e na omo ti yatemu homa akosi buronyi so de nyansa akuro omo be wie bibifo sebi oman ya mewo mu wa hai etebo so nti nso kura ho ye den nso beto a once in the whole year 365 days in the whole year nso to ba kope yeti omanya yankopon hira ye streams akase epo kakrake tese minim de yankopon fen hira bibifo nso ye nyansa ye je nyansa wonti de bia na bibi ne bre na me yakohwe video yi na before ansa na ye ba yakohwe video no me pese obehye dwumadie no na average afoforo na momayema die onyankopon ade adom ye no moma ye ni nso na bibini so ye ni po bibini ko bibini usu ye ni pawai adai eni ye yi ho sa adai ne ye yi ho sa ebibifo bibi so ade kra na ha bibini ko bibini uhuru adepa osi ko bibini hu adepa ko bibini kwa no hu adepa chese odwene hu a wonti ase
because you have no idea the contribution Kofi Annan and Unique Trust made to small and medium enterprises in this Ghana. Absolutely phenomenal. And when you just collapse that bank, and this is what I want to talk about, folks. There is no intelligent country, especially in our parts, Africa, that you collapse your local banks, because the local banks are the ones who are actually supposed to be at the commanding heights of your financial industry. But if you collapse all your local banks, you have done evil to your country. And this is what I don't understand, though. The president was talking about, we want to build Ghana without aid.
We've had 16 bailout programs with the IMF since independence. It doesn't make sense. We are looking at being within a decade, being able to fashion a new self-sustaining economy. This is the economy that we want to call the Ghana beyond aid. That is, therefore, have an economy which will reduce considerably our dependence on external financing from international donor agencies to finance our education, to finance our health service. These are all areas that a self-respecting nation should be able to finance itself. And we want to consider ourselves in that light.
Guys, you know something? I always feel so bad whenever I see this man talking Ghana beyond aid. How can you collapse, a whole bank, okay? You have collapsed, multiples of banks, the local banks that are financing the ordinary Ghanaian also to establish. If I have said something bad against this man called Kofi Annan, God forgive me, but I remember that when I was growing up, this bank, UT Bank, was the first African bank, Ghana bank, that was able to lend me a loan to establish myself. This bank called UT Bank, that Nana Addo came with his ministers and the MPs to collapse this bank, was the first bank that was able to lend me a loan. And you go around and say Ghana beyond aid, and yet you are collapsing individual banks. Paco Sindum was the first person, a business tycoon man in Ghana. Nana Akufo-Addo came to collapse his bank, and today we don't hear GN Bank again. And yet Nana Addo was going around and saying, in fact, to be honest with you, I am someone that when I see Nana Addo picture or his video, I don't know how to. God forgive me, but it is very sad that today, any young Ghanaian that is rising up to do something for his fellows, we are the same people that we speak evil against them. And today, all businessmen in Ghana are collapsing. I remember Kweku Dakun or something Dakun, the poultry farmer. This man was doing so well, but today we don't hear from him again, because we never cherish everything that God bless us. We have never cherished it. We have never cherished the very thing that God has blessed us with. Ebusia, ayana yase, Nyankopon adom so many things that I cannot even count on numerous of mineral resources that we have in Ghana. But yet, what are we seeing today? Now I better TV so na Ghana beyond, yet Ghana beyond the so na individual jobs, individual companies are they are doing well, now we collapsing in here. The same thing Papa Stephen Adom Kyei-duah all born home wedding. In one way or the other, on nam nempa bakadie so yarewa na so Ghana ni hu a okona bedi kan na nsem hunu na odi adenti na bibini ehunu ni nua bibini a na otano na otan hunu and yet the solitaire air Kwame Nkrumah. And today look at us, a country that Malaysia came to learn agriculture from us. Today look at us. Korea, Japan, we had the same Independence Day. Today look at them, look at us. Ghana, why? Now we have some young youth in our modern days. The very mistakes now, we are also doing the same thing. These are our ministers that we have them today. Are they not current people? Are they not youngs? They are very young ones. they could have the very mistake they are doing the same kind of mistakes, and today look at us. No development, no infrastructure. I didn't hear before.
Do you know how promising that sounds? And you cannot build a Ghana without aid. And on the other hand, your finance minister is collapsing the local banks that are helping build the SMEs in the country. No, UT was phenomenal. If you read his books, and that's what I like about Kofi Amwaba, in his books, he actually identified certain things that he said maybe they grew too fast, maybe some certain things he overlooked because they went to South Africa, they were in Nigeria, and that was the drive. But with the you do not collapse such a bank. For what reason? For what reason? And here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. Before the bank was collapsed, he said he had met Ken Ofreta. They were friends. These were good friends. They hung out together, they parked. They were friends. And before the bank collapsed, he had met him. And he was so surprised. Not before, I mean the day before. He was so surprised that they had a great conversation, they chat and everything, and not a hint that his bank will be collapsed the next day. Listen to him. I interviewed him some time ago, and he talked a little bit about this. Listen to what he said.
I was the last person to hear of the closure of UT Bank.
You weren't giving heads up?
Nobody told me anything. As a matter of fact, I was probably the last because I went to bed the Sunday night, and Sunday morning, we went to me crash it. I listened to CNN to catch up with world news. So 7 o'clock, I was listening to CNN with my cup of coffee. Then I went upstairs at about 8 a.m. Went to the washroom, then just flipped my phone open. And I had 63 missed calls. So I panicked. And I said, what can it be? I wasn't even thinking about the bank at all. Don't forget, I had left the bank about 20 months before that time. So the bank issues were not my issues. So I called my daughter and I said, why is everyone looking for me? And he said, aren't you listening to the news? I said, no. He said, well, it's about UT and Capital Bank. So I switched on the news, and that's when I got to know.
That's when you heard it?
Yes. Meanwhile, by 6 a.m., the government or Bank of Ghana and policemen had gone to UT premises and destroyed the signages and everything. 6 a.m. And I got to hear about it 8 a.m. Incidentally, and this one beats me because I had a call from my own brother, the Minister of Finance, the day before, that Sunday, 3 p.m. And we chatted. I asked about his wife and everything. Nothing. He didn't tell me anything. Maybe because he couldn't tell me, or he shouldn't tell me, or he didn't feel like telling me. So,
folks, this is what I'm saying. If you say somebody is a friend and somebody is a key player in the finance industry and you really like them and you want their business to grow and there is a problem with the bank, you hint, oh Charlie, Kofi, but like joke, the Bank of Ghana says this or that or something, whatever they said. So Charlie, let's be careful because and before they close the bank, you meet him and Giorgio. So whatever the problem is, try and fix it. But when the day before the closure, you're absolutely quiet and you carry on a normal conversation. And the next day, he's in Kukuruntumi hanging out and he says he has all these missed calls. People calling him, say, Charlie, what has happened? Your bank has been closed. That tells me that there was evil intention. That tells me that you knew exactly what you're doing. I'm not God, so I won't get into the motives of why you would carry on a conversation, normal conversation with somebody, when at the same time in your mind you know that the next day this man will wake up to a collapsed bank. That one there, I leave it to him and to everybody to judge. But for me, dear, the intentions were not good. So UT was collapsed. Okay? Beyond even, I don't like the bank or whatever. The workers, the numerous workers that UT had employed, just to lay them all off like this. Pam. The collapse bank. And is that the only option? We'll talk about that later. There was an option of what you can do to save the banks. There was an option. And from what I know, and from what the figures came out, what Ghana needed was like 9 billion cedis to save the banks and get them to survive. 9 billion cedis. However, the choice was made to use 29 billion to collapse them. If the intentions were genuine and noble, I leave it to you. I won't judge. I won't judge. So the people that were thrown out.
And again, for the staff, some of them at least worked their hearts out. And therefore, just to be left like that with that certain news was a bit painful.
The distress level, folks, that's one thing. UT was collapsed. And I'm saying whatever you have against Kofi Amwabeng, he started a trend that was so amazing and that was so revolutionary in banking. For back to back to back, 3 years consecutively, back to back to back, he was adjudged the most respected CEO of the nation. How can somebody that you call the most respected CEO of the nation have his bank collapse without any notice? And then not only collapse the bank, there was actually an effort to criminalize him. As we speak today, Kofi Amwabeng is still in court. Criminalize the man. Kofi Amwabeng is still in court, folks. It is very, very, very sad. Ghanaian, who has done something so remarkable for Ghana, for Africa, for the world. His bank is collapsed. He's criminalized. His passport was taken away from him. Maybe you don't know. At one point, I said, "Oh, Charlie, he's tired. Let me go and chill in America." So when he go to the embassy, they told him that the national security has written a letter that he's a flight risk. First of all, the passport was taken. When it was given to him and he tried to travel, they say the national security has written to the major countries, say this man is a flight risk. He's a criminal. He's under investigation. Don't give him a visa. So his visa was denied. Folks, the intentions to me are evil. If I'm wrong, fine. But I stand by the fact that there is not a way to treat a human being. You know, folks, especially when most of us know that before it became UT, at that time I think it was Unique Trust Financial Services, the number of people, including the big shots in the MPP that borrowed money from Kofi Amwabeng. I won't name anybody. It's not in my duty. But I can assure you, say, and paying for representing the party, went to borrow from UT.
The fact that I sponsored MPP, it can't be further from the truth. MPP, because I'm an Achim man, and they are saying to be from Achim, people can't believe why Achim people come and then they will take Achim man's bank. Achim people come and then they will take Achim man's bank.
Mobile power, my catastrophe. Let's put aside in the meantime. Look at Capital Bank. You know what is very, very interesting with Capital Bank is this. When I was considering people for the other show that will come back soon, the KSM show, you know, that show celebrated Ghanaians of ingenuity. That was the key mark of the KSM show. You know, Ghana Nibi Yadia, and is worthy celebrating, is worthy lifting them up for the youth of Ghana to realize that, Charlie, there can be a future for all of you. Then we interview them. And it's very, very funny. One person on my list that I wanted to interview was Atu Asian. That's when I discovered that he was born in Aguna Swedru. They say he's one out of 11 kids, or a hustler, you know. And then later on, I found out that he was actually selling foods. Atu Asian, not on foods. And foodstuffs to make a living, to pay his way through school. Atu Asian is not like Harvard, University abroad. He was educated right here in Ghana. And at the age of 29, and was starting the banking at 29. Isn't this a role model for Ghanaian kids to know, to understand that it is possible? So I had in mind that actually I will meet this guy, and I wanted to interview him and showcase him to Ghanaians. Actually, this is what I'm talking about when we say it is possible, it can be done in Ghana. You know, so that was before the collapse of the banking system, and when the bank was collapsed and all the furore about the money they said they had chopped and everything, and this to me is very, very significant, folks. Yewe UT, a man who was lending money to top gurus of the MPP, criminalized him and threw him out of business. Okay, fine. We are now a capital bank. A bank that you collapsed because you say the bank is in distress and whatever reason you gave to collapse the bank. And this one, courtesy to my good friend, Paul Adom Kyei-duah. He had an interview during which he interviewed Atuesen. And I'm going to show you a clip of what Atuesen said on the Paul Adom Kyei-duah show, courtesy of Good Evening Ghana. Take a look at this clip.
Was the bank stressful? Was it distressed?
You know, you see, like I said to you, if the bank was that bad, our current finance minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, together with the chief executive of Enterprise Group, were in my office.
Kelly Gadzepo.
To
do what?
We're interested to buy Capital Bank.
No, hold on. Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister.
Yes.
And Kelly Gadzepo, his partner at Data Bank and Enterprise, came to see you.
Yes.
This is when Ken was finance minister.
No, before he became finance minister.
Okay.
That's right.
They came to you,
yes,
that they wanted to buy your bank.
Buy the bank. If it was that stressful, would they have done that?
So this was year?
This was 2016.
I see.
Yes.
They wanted to buy it.
They wanted to buy Capital Bank.
For Data Bank or for Enterprise?
Well, the letter they gave to us,
they wrote?
Enterprise Group. Yes, I have a letter to that effect. I'm just letting you know that if that bank was bad, a renowned investment banker like the caliber of our finance minister will not be saying that I'm interested in picking up that asset.
Folks, can you imagine? And you had the evidence. He said at one time, Ken Ofori-Atta, Data Bank finance minister, and Kelly Gadzepo, I think CEO of Enterprise, came to him. They wanted to buy Capital Bank. Actually, this is common sense. Me cares him as much as I don't know about business. Well, I do know about business, but as much as I don't know I don't have the investment intelligence of a guru. If I see that there's a company that is not worth anything, why the hell will I want to go and buy the company? I only want to buy the company because me sure the company has potential. It's as simple as that. Me sure this company has potential. So let me go and buy it and then build on the potential that the company has. And you heard, he talked to Paul Adom Kyei-duah, and he says, they had approached me. They wanted to buy Capital Bank. So for whatever reason that you say it was collapsed and the reasons you gave, I remember something that his defense minister had said, I think it was Dominic Ayini. And take a look at this.
The subject matter of the criminal charges belonged to some other person and were dishonestly appropriated by the accused persons, either together or as individuals. And the basic point that I was making in court on behalf of the defense team is the fact that we need to look at the source of the money critically, because basically this is founded on liquidity support that was provided by the Bank of Ghana. And the liquidity support is described in the facts grounding the charges as if it still remained the property of the Bank of Ghana. But we all know that liquidity support granted to a bank is more or less a loan with interest that is to be paid for by the bank. And therefore we took the view that once the money was transferred to the bank and the bank disbursed it in accordance with its own internal procedures, it was a legitimate banking transaction that the bank engaged in, and therefore there is no reason why any person should be charged, with stealing. And the reason why I thought it was going to be groundbreaking from a jurisprudential point of view is the fact that all these transactions were done with the consent of the bank, that is Capital Bank. At least there have been board approval by the duly constituted board members of the bank.
Folks, I know that they are talking a lot of legalese, all the law, but the simple, basic thing he's saying is that the case against him was dead on arrival. You I don't know. The case against him was dead on arrival. So, folks, when you listen to this, and when you remember what he actually said on Good Evening Ghana, for me, and I could be totally wrong, I always admit I could be wrong, and I could be 100% right. But for me, dear, it looked at me like a personal vendetta, because no intelligent person in their right mind will make an offer to buy something that they say is no good. This thing is disgusting, it's in distress, it's useless. We should discard it. Oh, but anyway, I want to buy it. Really? So, folks, this is what I'm saying. In the country to decide that this is the first time we had in our history that members of the same party, how many ministers, I think 80 or plus, sent a petition to the president and said, this man that you have as your finance minister, Mr. President, is not working.
My name is Andy Apiakubi, and I am only here as spokesperson for the majority group, without more. We have had occasions to defend allegations of conflict of interest, lack of confidence, trust against the leadership of our finance ministry. We are by this medium communicating our strong desire that the President change the Minister of Finance without further delay in order to restore hope into the financial sector and reverse the downward trend in the growth of the economy. Honorable Kenneth